to No Guilt, Just Growth. I'm Kristen Pomper, wife, coach, and corporate working mom of two. I help ambitious working moms stop running on empty and start building lives they're obsessed with, without the guilt or burnout. I'm on a mission to redefine what success looks like for moms. Because one thing I know for sure, it's not about putting everyone else's needs above your own. If you're ready to stop surviving and start thriving, you're in the right place. Welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for spending a little bit of your day with me. Today, we're talking about the mental load, that invisible weight that we carry every single day as moms. If you've ever felt like your brain is juggling a million invisible tabs at once, always running through a mental checklist, trying to remember everything from your kids' next doctor's appointment to the upcoming milestone that they're supposed to be tracking towards, to what time that birthday party is this weekend, and you're out of formula again, all while trying to show up at work, keep your house from looking like an absolute tornado ran through it, and maintain some version of yourself, then this episode is for you. Today, we are breaking down what the mental load is, why it's so heavy, tactical tips on lightening it, how to communicate it to your spouse so you don't have to carry it alone anymore. Okay, we're going to get right into it. First things first, let's talk about what the mental load actually is. It isn't just about the physical tasks themselves. It's the constant mental energy required to make sure that the thing gets done. It's about being the one who thinks about the tasks all the time. That mental load takes up precious cognitive real estate. Space in our minds that could be used for other things, but instead is crowded with the constant reminders and planning and organizing, let alone actually executing on the act itself. It's all the little things that we carry in our minds without even realizing it. There are three components to the mental load. There's the physical portion of it, the actual doing of the task. There's the mental portion of it, the making of the lists, thinking about what needs to be done and planning for the future. And then there's the emotional component. And this is the hardest one to define, but it's the piece that really differentiates the mental load that moms carry from others, like our husbands. It's the emotional energy that we expend worrying about the impact of our decisions, feeling guilty, or wondering if we're doing enough. Most often, men don't get emotional about their mental loads, but we do. And that emotional piece is exhausting. So, why does the mental load fall so heavily on us as moms? Why do we seem to carry so much of it? I think it ultimately boils down to societal expectations. Society has conditioned us to believe that as moms, we're the ones responsible for everything related to the kids and the household. Say that your kiddo doesn't come to school with a packed lunch. First thing the teacher is going to say is, "Oh, did your mom forget to make it for you?" Your kiddo forgets their coat at home. Your mom must have forgot to pack it for you. Your house is a disaster and someone stops by. Wow, she really let the house go. It seems like it's hardly ever on the dad, right? Which can be so frustrating. But here's something that I think that we oftentimes lose sight on. Men also have an invisible mental load. It's just different than ours. It's also rooted in their own societal expectations, which typically boils down to them being the providers and the protectors. Men are expected to provide financially and to keep the family safe and be the backbone of the household in terms of security. So I don't mean to say that to justify the fact that in most cases they don't carry nearly as much as we do. I definitely don't think it's right that we should carry all of the mental load as it relates to the kids and the household. I just think it offers perspective, and I think that oftentimes women think that we carry everything, and men carry a little bit too. It's just a little bit different. I also think it's helpful to point out that we've sort of set this precedent of carrying the mental load by doing everything that we've done for them over the years. I think back to when I first started dating Bobby and I started spending more and more time at his place. Whenever I noticed he was out of body wash or shampoo or something, I would just pick it up the next time I was at the store and drop it off the next time I was there. We've basically conditioned our husbands to not think about those things because we take care of them. And before kids came into the picture, it wasn't that difficult to manage. But as soon as you throw a kid or two in the mix, the tasks, they add up and they become overwhelming. And then when our husbands complain about not having any shampoo, which, yes, they're capable human beings that can go to the store on their own or, heaven forbid, make like 3 freaking clicks on their phone to purchase one on Amazon, they're confused why we lose our shit on them for making the request in the first place. But here's the thing, ladies, we've done it for years. So why would it all of a sudden change just when we have kids? Again, intention is not to defend them. I'm just trying to offer perspective on why I think these things play out. We had the best intentions when doing these nice, courteous things for them, especially early on in our relationship. We wanted to be helpful, but without even realizing it or signing up for it, it's led to us taking on more than we ever wanted. And we never had a productive conversation about how to divide it amongst the both of us. So let's talk through how you could approach the conversation, because explaining this mental load to your significant other is really tricky. And if you're anything like me, whenever you bring it up, they just don't seem to get it, or it turns into this huge argument. So I think the best way to articulate the mental load is to use an example that mirrors something that they're dealing with in their life. Put it into their world to help them understand what it feels like. This example is actually super real for Bobby and I. Let's say that your husband has an interview coming up next week, or maybe it's a big presentation. Other than actually setting aside time to prepare for the interview in and of itself, there's a ton of things that he's thinking of in preparation for the interview up until it actually happens. What am I going to wear to the interview? Do I need to make a run to the cleaners to get a suit pressed if it's in person? What route am I going to take to get there? Are there any road closures that I should consider? I'm almost out of gas. I better go fill up this weekend so I'm not on E. The interview is at 2:00, so I better leave a little bit early to avoid that early rush hour, late lunch crew. I wonder what parking's going to be like. Maybe I should swing by the location on my way home just so I know what I'm getting into. I should probably bring a couple resumes on hand, and they should be on nice paper, so I better order some of those from Amazon. And they asked me to bring professional references, so I've got to call John and Mike and let them know to expect their call. And do my shoes look professional enough? I don't know. Maybe I should go get them polished. All of these things have nothing to do with the actual interview itself, right? Like the actual questions that they're going to sit down and prepare for. But they're all things that should be considered when you're interviewing or have a really big presentation. And this is exactly our train of thought for every single thing that we manage for the kids and the house. That birthday party you have next weekend for the kiddo that your kid goes to daycare with, did you get a gift? No? Okay, fuck, I better order one. And I wonder if we have wrapping paper. I don't think we have that either, but you know what? I'll just get a bag and tissue paper because that's going to be easier. And what time is it at? Okay, it's 11 to 1. So that means that the kids are probably going to go down for a nap later than usual, which is going to mess up their evening routine. So I better cancel our plans that we have that afternoon. And that will probably affect their mood the next day. So I better just make a conscious effort to put them down for a nap on time the following day. Oh, and there's going to be a slip and slide at the party, so don't forget to pack a swimsuit and a change of clothes and a towel and restock the diaper bag because you used the last diaper last weekend while you were out. Like all of those things that we know happen just for going to a party. But if you explain that birthday party example without the interview one, or one that's maybe more applicable to whatever's going on in your spouse's world, it sounds absurd, right? He doesn't get it. What does a Sunday nap have anything to do with a Saturday birthday party? I know you get it because you're living through it every single day, but it just doesn't compute for them. So work to come up with an example that will resonate with them. And then as soon as you explain it to them in a way that relates, they will understand exactly what we go through. Maybe not exactly, but you know what I mean. Now, before you go to your spouse, I think it's really important to ask yourself this question. What do you actually want to do about the mental load? Are you just wanting to be seen, noticed, and appreciated for every single thing that you're doing? Or are you actually looking to delegate some of it and lighten up that mental load? If you're wanting to delegate, I would just encourage you to take a good hard look in the mirror and ask yourself if you're hard to help. I say this from personal experience. I would bitch and moan about all of the things I'm taking on, and I'd ask Bobby to do more around the house. And at first it started with dishes and laundry. And then I would criticize and micromanage every single detail. When he loaded the dishwasher, I'd complain about how the dishes were positioned in the rack, knowing that I could fit more in if they were organized better. And then I'd end up rearranging them myself just to fit the 2 bowls that were still left in the sink in the dishwasher. Or if he did a load of laundry, I'd nitpick about how it wasn't separated correctly. I was impossible to help. What a drag it is to do something that you're asked to do, only for your wife to redo it. It's a complete waste of your time. So then you just stop doing it. Here's the truth. If you're going to delegate, you have to let go of the expectation of how it's done. All that matters is that they're getting it done, not how it's getting done. If you want him to continue taking ownership of a task, you've got to give him the space to do it his way. You have to learn to let go. That's why I encourage you to truly ask yourself what it is that you want. You might just want recognition, and that's great. That's what you need to ask for, though. Once you clearly identify what it is that you're looking for, then you can approach the conversation and ask for what you need. So if delegation is what you're wanting, this is what it might sound like. Hey, babe, can we talk about something that's been weighing on me? I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. It's not just the tasks themselves, it's all the things that I'm constantly thinking about associated with the tasks. I feel like I'm managing every detail of our family's life in my head. Sometimes it feels all consuming and it's starting to get really heavy. I know you're doing a lot too. Do you think that you have room to take on some of what I am? Can we go through what's on my plate and see what you could take on? The main thing here is to approach it with mutual understanding and shared ownership. You're not pointing fingers or associating blame. Timing is also really critical here. If your husband works a stressful job and right when he gets home, he needs to kind of unload and just decompress, that's probably not the best time to have this conversation. Remember that you guys are on the same team. There's no keeping score, just teamwork to make it all feel easier for both of you. Here are some tactical tips that have helped me lighten up my mental load. Don't keep the mental load in your head. Name the invisible tasks. The mental fog I felt since having kids, I still feel, is so real. I cannot remember a damn thing. So get everything out on paper. Use a calendar, to-do list, or a weekly meeting with your partner to keep track of everything. Don't keep it in your mind, write them down. I especially like the weekly meeting because it allows you to acknowledge the invisible tabs you have open with your partner. Chances are he just doesn't realize how much you're juggling. When you put it all down in black and white, it becomes a lot easier to delegate, which leads me to number 2. Don't just delegate tasks, transfer ownership. Delegating tasks is a great start, but for real relief, you need to transfer ownership end to end. For example, if your partner takes over, let's say, daycare drop-off, let them own that. That means managing the logistics, the prep, the backpack packing. Release the need to micromanage, like me. Don't fall under that trap. Trust me, let go. It may not go perfectly the first time. Maybe they forget to pack a coat. Sometimes that's exactly what's needed for it to never happen again. The kicker here is when you delegate ownership, you're not only delegating the physical and the mental components of the load, you need to let go of the emotional aspect of it too. It's the most difficult part, but it's also the most freeing. That emotional component of the mental load is taking up so much space and energy, and it's what's keeping you exhausted. Once you release the emotional aspect of it, the weight is truly lifted. True partnership means you're not the only one remembering everything. Okay, another one. Automate as much as you can. Use subscription services like Subscribe and Save for things that you constantly buy: toilet paper, paper towels, dish soap, formula, diapers. Another way that I do this is to plan recurring meals to minimize decision fatigue. So Taco Tuesdays or Pizza Fridays, or maybe you do breakfast for dinner every Monday. Okay. Batch similar tasks, especially the ones that you don't enjoy. You know, those things that just always pile up, they never seem to really leave your to-do list. Knock them out all in one go and feel accomplished. Prioritize what's really important. Those tasks that continue to stay on your to-do list week over week, they're probably not really that important. Do the closets really need to be reorganized? Does the garage really need to be swept? You have a lot on your plate as it is. Don't fill it with things that don't actually need to be done. Once you realize what's not important, you can release the expectation and focus on what really matters, like quality time with your kids or a good night's sleep for yourself. Okay, use the phrase, "I feel the weight of." This simple phrase helps avoid blame and opens up a more productive conversation. So this might sound like, "I feel the weight of having to make every doctor, dentist, eye appointment for the kids. Can we come up with a system that helps lighten that?" This allows you to express what's weighing on you without making it sound like a demand or criticism. Here's what I hope that you take away from today. The mental load is heavy, but you don't have to carry it alone. You deserve to be supported. If you're feeling overwhelmed, start by creating an example that your partner will relate to, like the interview one I provided. Open up to him on what you're experiencing. Identify what it is that you really want. Are you wanting to be seen, noticed, and appreciated? Or are you actually looking to delegate some of it off of your shoulders? Get crystal clear on what it is that you need, and then sit down with your partner and ask for it. Then release control. I hope this episode was helpful. If it resonated with you, I would love for you to share it with a friend or maybe even your husband if you think it would help him understand what you're experiencing. Let's spread the word that the weight of motherhood isn't meant to be carried alone. Next week, we're tackling something that affects every working mom out there, and that's work-life balance. We're going to dive into what actually works when it comes to balancing everything as a mom without losing yourself in the process. If you've been chasing the idea of perfect balance, you are going to love this episode. I'll be sharing the real actionable steps to stop spinning your wheels and start creating a life that truly feels good, one that supports your family, your career, and your well-being. You do not want to miss it. Until then, keep choosing yourself. You've got this. I will talk to you in the next episode. Have a great week.